Rebel has published this particular story. I'm just going to turn the volume down here a bit because it's pretty loud. So they just published this video here, and it's about the Justin Trudeau blackface scandal. And in this video, Keean Bexte goes up and he talks to this woman here, who is Nirmala Naidu. And I'm just going to play this. It's only a few seconds, and we'll sort of hear what he has to say and what she doesn't have to say.
Just months ago.
So needless to say, she gets in the car and closes the door, and she doesn't say anything to him. Now, for those of you who haven't seen it, we're going to go back a bit, and we're going to see what she did say to Keean Bexte a few months ago. So that is right around here. Okay, so Keean's point here is clearly that, as he says to her while he's talking along at this point, that Justin Trudeau is his actions are racist. So will she condemn him, and will she ask him to resign? Does she think that he should resign? But here's the thing, and I would generally agree with the sentiment that if Trudeau wants to be intellectually honest and show integrity, he should, because there's no doubt in my mind that he would call out anybody on the right who did such a thing. However, I think Keean here is wrong, and I love the Rebel. I'm a big fan of the Rebel media. But I think Keean's wrong, and I think he does a great disservice here when he says that that their leader is obviously a racist because he appeared in blackface. And for those who haven't seen the picture, we'll go back and we'll just show the picture here. So there we go. There's Justin Trudeau. And I am by no means a fan of Justin Trudeau. But I think the issue is that somebody appearing in blackface does not make that person a racist. I think that you can argue very strongly that it is tactless, that it is tacky. You could say that it is juvenile, right? And you could say that somebody finds it insulting, or that it could be considered insulting to the race in that's being caricatured. Okay, and subsequently, obviously, it could be considered that you're just turning that race into a caricature. I don't know that I would make all of those arguments, but none of those arguments say that that person then therefore must be a racist. So if we look at something like this here, if we look at the old Saturday Night Live skit, White Like Me, with Eddie Murphy, where Eddie Murphy was done up in whiteface, and he walked around and saw how the world reacted to him as a white person, ostensibly walked around and saw how the world reacted to him as a white person, right? Or we have the movie here, White Chicks, right, with the Wayans brothers, where they got dressed up as white chicks, right? Now, if I have somebody who shows up to a Halloween party, okay, and they're a black person and they're dressed like this, and they've got all the makeup on and they look white, or a couple black guys show up and they have done themselves up like this and they're walking around acting like Romeo and Michelle, okay, am I going to be offended at that? No, not at all. In fact, if anything, I would probably be freaking super impressed that these people were able to put together a getup that is that solid and that drastic a change and try to pull it off. Okay? And to be fair, if they just caked on a bunch of white powder, the color of this jacket, right, and then showed up in like literal, like freaking Snow White face, uh, I'd probably just think, okay, great, they're showing up as a freaking Casper the Friendly Ghost or something, and I wouldn't care one bit. Okay, but again, then we get to the point of, let's say we are showing up to a Halloween party or a costume party or something, and let's say I want to go as Michael Jackson from Thriller. Okay, I can get the jacket and I can get the pants and the shoes, and then I can sort of dance around, and people will go, "Oh, okay, that's fine." But what if I want to have the hair and the color to go along with it? That doesn't make me racist, right? That just says that I'm trying to, in some way, shape, or form, pull off a character. Now, you could argue that that's an effective way to pull that character off, or that that's an ineffective way to pull that character off. That's irrelevant to me. The point is that is not something intrinsically racist. So when we come to racism, uh, my bar for racism is incredibly high. Okay, and I think that part of the reason for that is that the term carries weight and it shouldn't be tossed around lightly. Okay? If we get used to tossing around that term incredibly lightly and that anything that we see is racially insensitive or something like this, rather than actual racism, okay, it diminishes the meaning and makes it much harder ultimately to accurately label people who are racists. When it comes to racism, as I say, my bar is high, and my bar is that is people who actually believe that intrinsically some races are inferior to others. Okay? Not that they find customs of certain groups to be strange or odd, or even those customs to be inferior. Okay? But that they believe the people themselves are inferior by nature of the color of their skin to be inferior. Okay? So if you go in blackface, you can be doing that to mock a particular cultural aspect. You could be doing that to um, make something. You could be doing that to make something into a caricature. Okay, but likewise, you could put somebody in blackface, or you could go in blackface to mock not the black person, but the person who is wearing the blackface. So you might want to make a statement about Southern rednecks. And I'm not saying Southern rednecks are a bad group or group to be trashed. I'm just using them as an example. So you could have a character who is a Southern redneck who you then show going into blackface and acting in all these crazy ways. But that doesn't speak to the black people. That speaks to that redneck character. And then people watching that can get the idea that, in fact, the person being mocked or ridiculed is not the black person. It is that white person who is in the black face. And we laugh at him because of his lack or his ignorance about the greater world that's out there. So when it comes to issues like that, context is key. Um, but again, I think that just by its very nature, blackface does not make someone racist. And do I think that Justin Trudeau is racist in that he intrinsically believes other races or black people are less than white people, or that they are intrinsically genetically inferior? I don't know that I do. I haven't particularly seen anything that indicates that, where he um, has created any particular um, situation where I see him believing that they are less human than other humans. So this is not something that I think makes him racist. And I say this as somebody who has very little respect for Justin Trudeau. But I think when people like Kian Bexty and the Rebel Media and organizations that I do have respect for buy into the lie that these things are racist, then they do a great disservice to the terminology. Uh, but I fear it is being done because oftentimes the left is so quick to cast aspersions at the right for similar things that the right then is spurred on to respond in kind. And ultimately, I think that makes it much harder and much worse for society in general. So everybody should just calm the hell down.